What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 4, Episode 15. So we start off with Tisha, Kimmy, and Tiffany. They all go rock climbing. And this is where Tisha invites the two other women to go to a couples retreat that her therapist, Dr. Francis, is going to be hosting. So all the women are down, and now they just got to work on convincing their husbands to go. Moving on from there, Melody is going to be hosting an event in Huntsville, and she's trying to pick out what outfit to wear. She's with her mom, and she tells her mother that she really wanted her children to be with her at this important event, but because it's Martel's time with the children, they won't be able to attend. And her mother says that right now Martel is very toxic because he's still not owning up to putting him and Melody and the children in this type of a situation. And I agree with the mother. I agree with her that right now Martel thinks he's taken responsibility and accountability because he's admitted to what he's done. He's admitted to being unfaithful to his wife. And he had to admit it because the evidence was out there. The evidence was strong as hell. The girl was talking, so he had to admit it. But as far as him not taking accountability, I agree with that as well. Because if you say, yes, I did all of these things, yes, I cheated, but my wife wasn't taking care of me at home, and that's why I strayed, that's still not taking any kind of responsibility. You're still justifying your actions. You are still putting blame on someone else for the things that you did. And Martel is still like that. Yes, I did it, but this is why I did it. And it doesn't go like that, because it doesn't matter what your wife was or wasn't doing. You had no business straying from your marriage, and you should have tried to fix your marriage or divorce your wife and then go out there and do whatever the hell you wanted to do as a single man. But you couldn't have both. So moving on from there, Martel and Louis, they are, I don't know if this is a facility. I guess this is a facility that Louis owns. It's some type of I don't know what it is, some type of a sporting facility that I think Louis owns. Anyway, they're there, they're talking about marriage, and Martel made a Freudian slip when he said that I miss my marriage, when he meant to say I miss marriage in general. So when he said I miss my marriage, that kind of made me wonder, does Martel want to go back to Melody? Does he want his family back? Because to hear Carlos King say it, Carlos King thinks that Martel is head over heels in love with Ariane, and I'm wondering, with all this talk that Martel was doing about wanting to be married again, I'm wondering if he's going to soon possibly wanting to marry Ariane, or does he still want to? Well, Melody's not going to take him back. That's not going to happen, and Martel knows that. So I don't know if, but for Melody not wanting him back, would he have wanted to try to make things work again with Melody? I don't know, because they do love each other because they've been married for so long and they have kids together. So I know that there's still love there for one another. I just don't. I just wonder if, but he's done too much. Martell has done too much. So Melody, I don't think would ever take him back. And plus, there's this whole outside child to deal with. So the fact that he kept on talking about how he wants to be married again, he loves the idea of marriage, he loves being married. I wonder if he's going to pop the question to Ariane, because Carlos King wants us to believe that Martel is really deeply in love with Ariane, and Ariane is the woman of his dreams. Then he talks about how Melody hasn't been responding to any of his phone calls or his texts or his emails. There has been no communication between them at all. And then Louis talked about a woman being scorned, and he was referring to Melody. And I thought that was a little bit inappropriate, Louis. You're not in a position to talk about Melody being scorned or anything like that. Whatever Melody is doing right now that Martel feels is negative or counterproductive, I think that Melody has the right to do that, except she can't keep him away from his kids, which she's not doing that. But if she doesn't want to talk to him, she doesn't want to fool with him, she doesn't have to, because of how he treated her, how he disrespected her, and the breakup of the whole family and all of that. She doesn't have to say anything to him. They can talk through a third party. He can talk to his kids directly. I know they have a visitation schedule that they can both abide by without having to communicate with one another. So Melody can stay away from him, because Martel is nothing but the father of her children to her right now, and he can still be a father to his kids. They don't have to do anything with one another. She doesn't have to talk to him. She doesn't want to. So when Louis was like, yeah, you better watch out for a woman scorned, or whatever he said about a woman being scorned. I didn't like that at all. So, Lewis, are you feeling some type of way because your wife Tiffany chose Melody to go with her to Utah instead of you? You know, she gave you the boot, she kicked you out of the way, and she replaced you with Melody. Is that why you want to talk about Melody being scorned? Melody is not a scorned woman. Melody is a woman who has been through a very traumatic event, having her husband of up teen years cheat on her, have a baby outside of his marriage, and all of this playing out in front of the TV, on the television. So she's been through something very, very traumatic. When you think about the level of humility and embarrassment that she must have suffered to go through this in front of a camera for the entire world to pick apart and judge and scrutinize. So Lewis, please shut up. Moving on from there. Kimmy and Maurice. So Kimmy's in the room. She's got the suitcases all laid out, clothes laid out for packing because she's, gonna surprise Maurice with this trip to Dr. Francis's couples retreat. So Maurice walks in and he sees a suitcase and he's like, "What's going on here?" And she basically tells him that we're going to go on a couples retreat. And Maurice, the look on his face to me looked so genuine. I don't think this was rehearsed or fake at all because he looked really irritated. He was like, "No, I'm not doing that." And so Kimmy tries to convince him that it's going to be good for them. And Maurice is like, "We don't need any fixing in our marriage. We're good. We're fine." And he says his marriage is fine. And Kimmy laughs. She kind of like laughed it off, kind of like, "Are you serious? Are you serious?" So Maurice says that the trip is going to be very negative. There's nothing positive about it. People are just going to be bickering and arguing, and he doesn't want to be involved in any of that. So Kimmy says that any marriage has room for improvement, no matter how perfect you think it is. So Kimmy asks him, "Is there anything about me that you would like to improve on?" And he was like, "Yeah, I like to have sex every single day." And Kimmy was like, you know, like, what is up with these men? I don't understand. These men on Huntsville. Okay, Martel talked about how Melody wasn't doing a certain act for him, so he had to go seek it elsewhere. Lewis is constantly complaining about how he's not getting enough loving from Tiffany, and it's making him rage and it's just like, it's very confusing to me between Lewis and Tiffany because Lewis makes it look like they're not doing anything at all, and Tiffany's like, "I can't do enough for him because I'm only one person. I'm doing what I can." And here you have Maurice. I had no idea that him and Kimmy were having those kind of issues because they seem very connected, very lovey-dovey with one another. So Maurice was like, "Yeah, I would like to do it every single day." So Kimmy tells him basically that you are getting the required amount, the daily recommended amount, but it's never enough for you. Kimmy says we could do it at 6 and 10 o'clock. You want more. So it's like, come on, you are getting it. It's just that you're like constantly wanting more and more and more out of me. And Marie says that, he compares it to eating. He's like, "Is there ever a day that you don't want to eat?" No. So he's basically saying every day I want it, and every day I'm expecting my wife to give it to me. And I guess men and women are just wired a little bit differently. With men, it's like a physical need. And with women, it's more like an emotional connection. And, that's why Tiffany and Kimmy always talk about, "I need the romance. If you want to go there with me, I need the romance. I need you to stimulate my mind, my body, my heart, my soul. I need the romance." It's not like I'm not a robot, just like you push a button and boom, the legs spread and you do what you got to do. It's not like that. So that's what these men are failing to understand. It's like, for you, it's like a physical reaction. For the women, it's like a whole production, and you need to participate in that production. So Maurice says that he'll get excited about the trip if Kimmy promises him that they can do it 2 times a day when they get to the retreat. And Kimmy was like, "No, no." When a man is like that, when a man is constantly like, I need it every day, I want it every day, every day, you kind of feel like he's just using your body. You like he it's not even about like love and romance and having deep feelings for one another. It's just like he has a need and you need to be there to satisfy it, and that's all you're there for. Like it's just a physical need. It's got nothing to do with connecting with you or loving you or nothing like that. So you feel like a machine or you feel like a piece of meat. You're just being used. And that's why these women are not really like responding to these men's demands like that, because they feel like you're just using me for that. Like what you want me to do, as far as you're concerned, I can be replaced by anybody just for you to get to where you need to go. It's not even about you wanting to make love to Kimmy or you wanting to make love to Tiffany. It's just like, look, I have a need and I need someone there to satisfy it. And because you're my wife and we happen to be under the same roof, you'll do. So Kimmy's like, no, I can't promise you 2 times a day. She says, let's compromise. I promise you that we can do it once a day, every day. And then she tells him, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You say that like I'm not giving you enough or I'm not satisfying you. But I just told you that if you want it every day, I can give it to you every day. But that wasn't enough for you. Now you want it 2 times a day. So if she would have agreed to 2 times, he would have wanted it 3 times a day. So Maurice says that he's only going to go because right now he feels defeated. At this point of the conversation, he feels completely defeated. So he's like, okay, you know what? I'll go only because you really want me to go. And then as he's walking out the door, he says, my wife isn't willing to do the things that will make our marriage happy. And I was just like, Maurice, are you kidding me, Maurice? Did you not hear what she said? Are you not listening to what your wife is saying? You're talking about your wife isn't doing anything to make this a happy marriage, but are you even listening to what she's telling you? That it's not just about the physical act of it. You need to stimulate her in more ways than one. You have to connect with her mentally, connect with her emotionally, not just, okay, I want to do it, let's do it, and then go watch TV. No, no. So I don't know. Then I wonder if when I saw this interaction between Kimmy and Maurice, then I begin to wonder, are they using sex? Is the sex masking a deeper issue between them? Like there's something else going on, but they don't want to get that deep. They don't want to really reveal what the deeper issue is. And so they're going to use this whole sex thing as this is why we hit a bump in the road in our marriage, because Kimmy and Maurice seem to have a lot of chemistry to me. And I just can't imagine Kimmy like, I don't think it's as bad as Maurice wants it to look like. Like Kimmy's just not giving him anything at all. I don't think it's that bad. I think that Maurice is definitely exaggerating. And I think that in the sex department, they're fine because they have a lot of chemistry together. But maybe there's something else going on that they don't want to dive into. And so they're going to use, oh, our issue is that the sex isn't enough or the sex is too much or whatever. Just like with Tiffany and Louis. Tiffany and Louis are too early in their marriage to be having just like I agree with Marceau when he told them that in the Splinter van, when he said to Louis, look, y'all are too early in the game to be having issues of not enough sex. Y'all are still sort of like in the honeymoon phase where it should be on and popping all the time. So I'm wondering if there's like a deeper issue there, but they want to mask it under sex because that's something that is fixable. Like when you talk about, well, my problem with my spouse is that they're not giving me enough. It's kind of like, well, we can fix that. That can be fixable. But maybe there's a deeper issue there. I don't know. And like with Melody and Martel talked about how not Melody and Martel talked about how sex was an issue in his marriage because Melody wouldn't do certain things that he wanted. So he went to go find other women that would do those things for him. And that really wasn't even the issue. I think, and I did a whole video about this when the stuff came out a couple of years ago. I think that the problem with Melody and Martel is that Martel was resenting Melody because she was the star of the show. Not the television show, but she was the star of the marriage. Melody was booked and busy. She was the one that was getting a lot of exposure. She was winning awards, doing speech. Her career was taking off. And whenever she would go somewhere to accept an award or do a speaking engagement or do whatever, Martel was just living in her shadow. Martel was just trailing behind her. He was the one watching the kids. He was the one holding her purse. When a photo opportunity was needed, he was like the stand-in guy. He would come and stand in next to her to take a photo. Like he was second class to her. She was rising, he was stagnant, and I think he began to resent her because he was more like her assistant than like her husband. And Melody just kept on going and going and going. She wasn't going to slow down to make him feel better. She wasn't going to dim her light to make him feel better. She was just going to continue to go and go and grow and make that money and do all of that. And I think that Martel began to resent her. And so he felt like maybe she wasn't giving him enough attention. Maybe he was jealous of her. Maybe he was upset that his career wasn't taking off like that he wasn't the one that people were seeking to take photos of, or nobody was asking him to do a speaking engagement. Nobody was asking him to accept an award. So he began to feel like living in her shadow, resenting her, being jealous of her, being envious of her. So he sought other women, not because he wanted certain sex acts done. He sought other women because they built up his ego. He sought other women because they saw him as, oh my God, you're Martel, and they gave him the attention that Melody wasn't giving him because Melody didn't have the time. So he wanted to feel important again, and these outside women made him feel important again. Like I said, I did a whole video about it. That was the real reason of why he was seeking other women, not because it feels good to blame your wife and say, oh, she wasn't satisfying me, that's why I had to go elsewhere. But the real reason is you were feeling less than. You were struggling with your own identity, your own self-worth, how you were feeling about yourself as a person, as a man, as a husband. Maybe you felt like you couldn't satisfy Melody because Melody was, climbing to the top of the mountain and you were still down there in the valley looking up at her. So maybe that was what was really going on. Maybe he didn't feel adequate enough for Melody. And so I did a whole video about it. So moving on from there. So Tiffany and Louis, they are packing for this trip, and Louis is like, well, maybe Dr. Francis can help us with our sex issues. And so Tiffany's like, okay, what is their problem? What is Tiffany and Louis's problem? I'm so confused. Once again, these people confuse the hell out of me. If Louis says that he's not getting enough sex from Tiffany, and Tiffany really, 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 really wants a baby, and Louis talks about, well, we don't need a baby because you don't have enough time for a baby and you barely have enough time for me. Okay, this is what I'm saying here. Louis wants more sex. Tiffany wants a baby. Tiffany, give Louis more sex so you can have your baby. And then problem is solved. Yes, no, maybe, I don't know. It's like they could fix this. If this is what the issue really is, if they really want us to believe that this is the only issue that they have, Louis wants more sex, Tiffany wants a baby. Tiffany, give him the sex so you can get the baby, and everybody's satisfied. Moving on to Latisha and Marceau. So Latisha's in the bedroom packing. Marceau walks in and he's asking her, oh, what are you packing for? And she says, a trip. And she tells him that, she's planned a couple's trip with her, the other Scotts, and the Whitlows. And she has to trick him once again because she doesn't have let me calm down because I see my temperature rising here. So she has to trick him. She doesn't want to tell him the truth that this is a couples retreat with Dr. Francis because, anything that has anything to do with counseling, healing, fixing problems, Marceau wants none of it. Marceau believes that whatever the issue is, if there's even an issue, because ask Marceau, there is no issue. But if there is an issue, whatever it is, he can fix it. He doesn't need outside help. And that just boggles my mind because just last year when he was going through his depression era, he was talking about how Black people need to be, upfront and honest about mental health issues, but you just can't have mental health issues and just have them sitting there. You have to fix them. And most of the time you need outside help. It doesn't mean that you're weak. It doesn't mean that you don't know how to solve your own problems. It's just better to have a professional kind of look at it from the outside and give you the tools that you need so that you can fix it yourself. So she has to lie to her husband about this damn trip. So she says it's just a couple's retreat, just for us to kind of get away for a couple of days. And, that's all it is. And we're going to have fun. And he's like, okay, sure, whatever. He's excited about it. At first, he really wasn't feeling the fact that the Whitlows were going to be there, but then he remembered that he had a really good time with Louis in Atlanta. So he's cool with it. And I don't know if this scene is real or fake or what. It's just pathetic and sad. And the fact that she can't be honest with her husband and she can't confront him proves my point that she always whenever it comes to confronting Marceau with serious issues, she can't do it. She just can't do it. And this is the reason why she has to go to her mom to confront Marceau. This is the reason why she needs other, like, whenever it comes to adult issues and confronting people, she just can't do it. She has to send her goons out to do it. And if there are no goons to send, because her mom is trying to get this damn food truck started, so her mom probably doesn't have the time of day to give to Tisha anymore, she's going to lie about it because she can't be upfront and honest with her husband. All that therapy, all that talking to Dr. Francis absolutely does nothing for her, because she turns into a little spoiled girl who really, really, really wants something but doesn't know how to ask for it. So she has to manipulate the situation. She has to lie. She has to be deceitful. She has to be conniving. Like, girl, just like with when they went to Las Vegas and she wanted to renew her vows with Marceau. She couldn't just tell him, let's go to the chapel and renew our vows. She couldn't just do it or convince him in an honest way. She had to trick him. She brings him to the chapel and he's like, everybody had to be there. And he's like, oh, what's going on over here? What are we doing here? What's going on today? Oh, we're going to renew our vows. It's like, the hell we are. No, we're not. And then she had to trick him to take him to Dr. Francis because he refused to go see Dr. Francis voluntarily. Like, girl, when are you going to grow up and become an adult? And this also just reaffirms to me once again that he chose Tisha because he was like, you know what? She's this country bumpkin who's never going to want to do much with herself. So, she'll be happy to get married to a man who's got a little bit of coins. She's going to be happy popping out some babies. She'll be very satisfied just staying in the home, cooking and cleaning, taking care of the kids. That's the kind of wife that I need. Like, that's why he chose her, because he felt like she's just going to do what I want her to do. She doesn't have... I just don't understand. I just don't get it. And she's educated. She's an educated woman. She went to college. She's got degrees upon degrees upon degrees. But no, she just want. And look, if that's what you want to do, you want to be a housewife. Why did you make us believe last season, Tisha, that you were going to start doing bigger and better things with your career? But this season, we haven't heard nothing about it. We haven't seen nothing about it. You're just so concerned about what's going on social media, which is so stupid to me. Because when you are out there in the public like that, no matter if you are a celebrity or if you're just Joe Schmo, if you have anything to do with social media and you're putting yourself out there, be ready for the criticism, for the haters, for the naysayers, because they're going to come and they're going to come hard. And you just have to expect that. That's just the nature of the game of social media. You don't have to read every comment and react to it and try to prove every hater wrong. Everybody that's ever said anything negative about your marriage, you got to go up. Anyways, let me get off my soapbox about that. So she tricks her husband into going to this couples retreat. What an adult thing to do. She tricks her husband into going to this damn retreat, and we'll see how that goes. Moving on to Melody. Melody is at her event. She's doing her thing. She went up there on stage, did whatever she had to do. She had no idea up until this point that Martel was there with the kids. So after she does her thing, she goes back into the dressing room or the back room or whatever, and she's just talking with her mom. And here comes Martel with the kids, and it was a big surprise to her. And she's really excited to see her children. It was really, really nice. And it was nice of Martel to bring the kids, because he knew without even talking to Melody, or maybe he talked to the mom. I was gonna say, like, when you're married for so long, you just have this intuitive thinking with your spouse that you just know what they're expecting, you just know what they want. So he probably just knew, unless somebody told him, that Melody would really would have wanted the children there, and that's what he did. He brought the kids there, and that was really nice of him to do that. And I hope it's nothing underhanded. I hope it's not just a ploy to try to talk to Melody, because Melody has him on block and she's not fooling with him, and it's just a ploy to try to get her to listen to whatever the hell he has to say. So hopefully he has nothing underhanded to say to her. It's just, he just wanted to bring the kids to make her happy, to make her day, for her to see her children at this event, and that's it. And that's all it is. That is my review of Love and Marriage Huntsville. Thank you so much for joining me. On your way out, don't forget to rate the video if you like this content. Subscribe. If you don't like this content, don't worry about it. But thank you for stopping by anyway. And I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.